GM everyone. Welcome back to Weaving Web3. I'm here with Sebastian Rodriguez from Polygon ID, and we're here to talk about digital identity and why it's so important to keep it private and why there is a need for it. So, would you be doing us a bit of an intro?
Yeah, well, I've been working for the last 2 years in Polygon ID. I am the product lead, and today we are in Bucharest to talk about identity and privacy and how we can make things right.
Oh, fascinating. So Rodriguez had a fascinating talk about how the future of credentials is either going to be a completely dystopian, biometric nightmare like we've seen in movies, and like not to mention specific company, but taking your iris, and there could be many troubles with that. And why is Polygon ID different? What makes it unique and credible to be as an alternative use?
Well, didn't mean to scare anyone, but yeah, I think AI on one side and compliance on the other side is gonna bring more pressure, not only on Web3 but also on the entire internet, to build more trust in our identities. We are gonna be required to present verifiable data, verifiable credentials, and proofs about ourselves, right? Such as we are humans, such as we are unique, or such as we are eligible for certain services, right? I think this is going to be more prevalent, and the way we decide to present these credentials and to present this verifiable data is going to matter a lot in terms of how much we can be traced and tracked, how attached we are to our reputations. If our reputation is something that we want to show voluntarily on a consent base, or that is being monitored and scanned and is an object for companies to follow us around, right?
Absolutely. I think it's really important to mention that with Polygon ID, you would be submitting your own government credentials, and basically behind the background there is ZK proofs occurring. Let's say I want to know your age without actually revealing your actual age, to say you need to be 18 or over. You would submit your unique, sorry, is it UID? And then it will basically verify that I am eligible. I could buy alcohol or something like that. So without actually showing people my entire document, which I think is really important because, like you said, the AI people doing deep fakes, and I have had my ID stolen, and people try to in Poland, people try to take a loan out because of your ID. So that's kind of scary that could they do that. But with the digital identity, that would be, I guess, near impossible to do.
I think we tend to focus a lot on these kind of credentials when we try to make examples like age or KYC. We think in this, I would say, complex or second-class credentials. But there is here in Bucharest, we focused on one very particular type of proof about yourself, which is the proof that you are a unique human being, right? Which is, I would say, very sensitive and very important. And a lot of us don't even think about it, because in the real world we have our national IDs that provide this proof of being unique, right? And these national IDs allow us to prove to a service provider that we are not taking the service twice, and we are held accountable over time, because we cannot have another number. So if we ruin the reputation of our national ID, that's going to follow us forever, right? So when we move that idea of the uniqueness of this unique identifier to the online world, right, it's a bit more scary, because then the verification happens with our consent. It's not in our wallets, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the focus in the talks we had was how to present these proofs of uniqueness in a private, preserved manner, right? I think the case of proving that you are over 18, or do you have passed this or what, they are easy to understand. But the ability to prove to an application that you are a unique human being, that you are not a civil or a bot, right?
Yeah.
And do that in a way that you don't expose absolutely anything about your ID is very important. Also, of course, important if this proof of uniqueness comes from a biometric source, or if it comes from a governmental source.
Yeah.
And we are more we're advocating more for the second, right? We think governments should be the source of trust for our
Yes.
uniqueness, right? And then once we have this source of uniqueness issued by our governments, then we need to think in ways to share that in a private manner with the applications.
That's something really important. I think something we should strive for. As a question I really wanted to ask you is, what happens if you're dual national? I have two passports. So how would you, let's say, prevent me from doing, let's say, 2 sessions. I know maybe me as an individual doing 2 things isn't like a big deal, but what happens if I am a dual national and I try to cheat the system of something because I can do something twice, or there's a test, I failed it the first time, but then I find out the answers. How does dual nationality come into Polygon ID?
Dual nationality, I would say, is the same case where you have more than one source of trust, or you have one more, many uniqueness providers, let's say, or many providers that can testify your uniqueness, right? In that case, is the role of the application that is verifier to choose what is the issuer they want to trust,
Yeah.
right? So let's say you're dual nationality, maybe the application will ask you which nationality you want to apply under, right? And they maybe are only eligible for certain nationalities, right?
Okay, I understand.
Also, I want to say as well that even that biometrics should not be your primary source of uniqueness, right? It plays a role in all this, but it can only play a role if you build private rails for sharing the information, and you make sure that there is an open ecosystem of providers, and there is no single provider that has all the biometric information in one place.
Absolutely, because I also heard that potentially if, let's say, WorldCoin got subpoenaed because of with the location of their servers, they could essentially act and get all those people's IDs, which is kind of scary in my opinion. And I guess with Polygon ID that wouldn't be possible, right?
We are not issuers of credentials. We are not sources of trust. We are in this to build an ecosystem of an open ecosystem of issuers, right? And letting the verifiers to choose who they want to work with, right?
Yeah. Wow. That puts me more trust and verification than I would ever kind of need to feel. Do you have anything else that you would want to get across that is really important for people that may not understand?
I would repeat what I say. I think I was interviewed in Denver, and somebody asked me about if I was afraid of scan irises and this kind of thing. I said, check the technology, check the protocols, right? There is no technology that is bad per se. There is no technology that we need to be scared per se. It's how they are applied, how the information flows, right? And also who owns it and what are the incentives behind the people developing things, right? These are the real things that will provide us private frameworks. I don't think there is any technology that we need to be afraid of.
Don't blame the technology, blame the people behind it, right? I mean, not behind it, but the way how they're going to apply it.
Think about the incentives and think about
absolutely.
the ownership of the infrastructures that support all this.
No. Wow, that's a really knowledgeable conversation we've had, and I really appreciate you coming on, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me.